Hashtag DoMode. Less talking, more doing.
Man, it's your boy, man, Sholey, MC, lyricist, rapper, whatever you want to call it. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, 203, Bridgeport, Trumbull Ave. When I first started rapping, it's hard to put a time on it, but I always been into MC and I always been into lyricism, even through listening to other people. Like, you know what I mean? When I was like 6, 7 years old, my sister made me learn the words to like Snoop and Dre, like the next episode, a G thing. And ever since then, I've just been into lyricism. But for myself, I probably started being into like making my own shit around like 15, 16. What drew me to rap was the honesty and the authenticity of listening to different people from across the country and seeing how far from each other that we was and where different people was from, but how similar the stories was, and how the ghetto in Detroit is just like the ghetto in New Orleans or in Bridgeport or in Brooklyn. So just to hear people tell their stories and what makes them, that always intrigued me, you know. So I just always was into music that came from a real place. Besides being into rap, I was into sports growing up. You know what I mean? I played football in high school. I played a little football in college also, but I was always into like, you know, clothes, fashion, football, sports.
Any parallels you think between sports and rapping?
Hell yeah, it's parallels between sports and rapping because you want to shine, you want to be the best, you want to be a standout. Like you want to be a standout athlete, you want to be a standout MC. So when you get on the field, you want to do your shit. Just like when you get in the booth and when you got a show, you want to do your shit. You want people to remember your name. When the game is over, you want people to remember your name. The very first time I recorded a rap, my nigga Biggs, Daryl Scott, he lived off Beachmont. He had a little program on his computer. This is in the beginning of the internet, way before Pro Tools and all this other shit. So he had a voice memo program or whatever. So he would play the beat on his actual boombox and then press record on his computer, so it would pick up the beat and me rapping. And I want to say that was 2001 or 2.
Y'all were in a room, just a regular room?
We were just in a regular room, young niggas, nothing to talk about. Life wasn't real yet. But you feel me? We were just doing what we loved at the time, man. Free my nigga though, man.
When did you begin to take rap serious?
I was rapping amongst my niggas, and you'll be with your niggas, and you know, they'll be like, "Show, kick, let me hear something." You'll kick something, and the niggas will tell you good, but it's not really no real affirmation of how good you are, so you take it for granted. I think it's real important to get outside your circle, man, because the world, it's a real big world, man. The world is gigantic, man, and I can't emphasize that enough, man. You could make music for the people around your way and the niggas you fuck with, but that's not a broad enough spectrum for people to latch on to, man. Again, man, the world is huge. As far as the supporting cast, I had to show what I was capable of first before people latched on to what I was doing. So again, I had to get out here and be in these battles and put out mixtapes and do shows, and they kind of had to see the reaction from the outsiders to say, all right, we got something, let's do this. But you can't expect people to latch on to the idea that's inside of your head because it's in your head. So you kind of got to show people, or you got to build it in some capacity for people to latch on to what you want to do. You got to show people that it's possible yourself. So you can't have some $1 million idea and say, y'all do it for me. You got to start to do it, and people got to see you getting traction or, you know, gaining steam, and they'll say, all right, you need help here, I can help you, but you're going in the right direction.
So your advice would be to start doing it, and then support will come, essentially.
My advice essentially is to follow your heart and do what you're passionate about, and whatever you need will manifest itself, and that's what I believe.
How much is authenticity a factor in becoming a rapper?
For me, authenticity is paramount. To me, it's nothing more important than being authentic, man. And I don't say that to say that you gotta be a gun-busting street nigga to be authentic, cause you don't. You could be a nigga that's into women and have a lot of female problems and be authentic. You could be a nigga that work at Staples and be smarter than your boss and be frustrated working there and talk about it in your music, and it could come across as genuine. And a lot of people will relate to that because a lot of people probably feel like they're smarter than their boss. So for me, being authentic is everything, man, because when you tell your story, you're automatically unique. When you speak your truth, you're automatically unique. Like, I don't feel like there's no person walking the planet that has the same exact perspective as you. Being an upcoming rapper and getting the contacts you need, it's perplexing to me, but it's not the most difficult thing in the world. But it was difficult for me because, you know, I had to learn to humble myself. So like I said, I come from the streets, and I endured a certain level of success in the streets to where it's hard to have a certain disposition. It's hard for me to run down on somebody and ask them to help me. It's hard for me to walk up to a stranger and say, "Can you help me?" It was. You get what I'm saying? So I had to learn to humble myself and say, you know what? Whatever you did in the streets, whatever money you made out here, whatever vacations or jewelry you bought, that shit doesn't matter. As an MC, you're here. You need to get here. The way I approach people that ain't from the streets, first of all, I'm a man, so I treat everybody with the same respect. Whether you a street nigga or whether you work at Dunkin' Donuts, I treat people the same. I don't treat street niggas like they're more important than anybody else. Just like I don't treat rich people like they're more important than anybody else. So I treat everybody the same, but it's just a certain dignity and respect that you gotta approach people with, and the sincerity, and at least me. I think the importance of bringing something to the table when asking for a favor is the real, I think it negates you asking for a favor. I think if you're bringing something to the table, then it's no longer a favor. But that comes with knowing your worth. If you know that you're a good MC with good content, and you want to talk to a blogger or somebody with a website about getting on their website, you got to understand what you have to offer. You got to understand that you might not be asking for a favor, that you might be doing them a favor, because I'm dope and I use the top-notch videographer, and I spent a lot of money on the budget, so this is going to help your website. You got to understand your leverage. You got to understand how important you are or how unimportant you are. But, you know, you just don't want to overshoot your mark, but don't underestimate yourselves either. Like I said, what influences me a lot is people that don't know me, that tell me, yo, man, keep going. So I might have a freestyle with K Slate on Shade 45, and I might walk through a gas station or a supermarket, and somebody that doesn't know me from a can of paint and say, yo, man, you got it, man, keep going. That motivates me. And like my nigga Sexo, man, he got 30 years, and that was somebody near and dear to me, and we write each other and we talk on the phone, and he always tell me to put our hood on the map, and that's really important to me. What I would say is the blueprint for somebody who wants to get into rap at 2017, my answer is probably biased because I'm from a different era. And what I realized with this era that's a little, that disappoints me a little bit is that people go straight to giving music to the masses without really mastering their craft or even being close to mastering their craft. So for me, again, it might be a little biased, but I rapped on street corners and ciphers and battles forever before I got into a rap booth. And I grew up in the era kind of when social media and the internet came out, I was on the brink. So I'm from the era where you had to rap for real street niggas in front of them. Niggas that'll tell you that you suck to your face. You had to be good. And when they told you, if they told you that your shit was ass, you had to go back and not give up and say, you know what? Next time I'm gonna fuck niggas up. I'm gonna say this shit and they gonna love it. Like, I'm from that era. So to see that these niggas or these kids just get with a couple homeboys and get Pro Tools and say whatever the fuck comes to their mind, and then just post it on SoundCloud, and they don't have the courage or the audacity to get up in front of a parking lot full of people or a cafeteria full of people and be confident enough to say what they feel. Like, you know, I feel like that's why there's no there's no like a gatekeeper for hip hop. It's just like anybody can do whatever they want. So, you know, I think that's why you get it's a lot of dope shit going on right now. Don't let me be the bitter nigga at all. It's a lot of the shit that I like that's going on right now, but I also feel that there's a lot of people that don't belong in hip hop at all. If somebody asked me if they could rap and hold a full-time job, I would tell them that it's 100% possible. It just depends on what they talk about. Me personally, I know that perception is reality. When you hear my music and you hear what I'm talking about and what I'm saying my life is, you would probably not believe it if I was working in Walgreens. You probably wouldn't believe it. Whether it was true or not, you probably wouldn't believe it. My main goal for being an MC and rapping is to be heard above anything else. Above anything else, any amount of money, any notoriety or fame. I want to tell my story and I want people to hear it. And especially being where I come from, I'm from Bridgeport, and a lot of people got this preconceived notion of what Connecticut is. So it's so important to me to show people what Bridgeport is, what Chumba Live is, what I grew up like, what it's like to be from here, what you up against.
What does DoMode mean to you?
What DoMode means to me, whatever you want to make happen, make it happen. There's no excuses. Can't blame nobody for your shortcomings or what disadvantage you have. If you want to do something, do it. And you gotta reach inside and figure out how you're gonna make it happen. No matter what you up against, you gotta figure it out because nobody cares. So whether you don't have no money or you don't have no support or you don't have the biggest supporting cast around you or your family members tell you that you should do something else, you gotta figure out how the fuck you gonna get it done yourself.
I got a premonition, I wonder like Stevie, chasing my wishes with this glass and I don't got a genie. I miss my Aunt Sherry, I wonder do she see me, watching my niggas give up, they thought this shit be easy. Shame on my goals, I kept my brain on them.